Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something that most of us have experienced, and it's something that's quite close and dear to my heart. Today I'm going to be talking about losing someone really close to us. It could be someone within the family, so it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a pet, it could be someone that you've only known a short period of time but connected really, really well. I lost my grandmother 16 years ago, and it was the hardest thing I've ever experienced, I would say, in my life. I remember receiving the news and just being shocked and not knowing what was happening and why it was happening. I remember asking myself, why is this happening now? Why my grandmother? Why at this time? And I just felt robbed of precious time that we still hadn't spent together. And the reason I decided to do this video is because I wanted to share with you how I dealt with my grief. And I also want to share with you ways of dealing with your grief. They say that time's a healer, and I'm not quite sure what they truly mean by that, because 16 years on, I do still think about her. But I think grieving is I don't recall it as a process. I don't define it as a process. It's individual to each individual person. And it comes in many forms and many emotions. So some deal with it through anger, some through not accepting what's happened, sadness, denial, emotions that sometimes we can't even explain because they're happening to us at different times. One day we're feeling one emotion, next day we're feeling another emotion. So today I'm going to be talking about grief and how we can do the best that we can to cope with it, to try to deal with it to the best of our emotional and spiritual knowledge. When I received the news about my grandmother, I remember standing in the kitchen and just my mum turning around to me and saying, you know, she's no longer alive. And I was like, what? I couldn't understand. I couldn't really comprehend what was happening. It wasn't sinking in. I could hear the words. I could hear what my mum was saying. I could see her emotion. But for me, it was just shock and not knowing why that was happening and not knowing how to really feel. All that was happening was inside. It was hurting, and tears just started to stream. And it was really, really tough, not only because it was something that I was going through, but also it was really hard to see people around me, you know, my mum, my dad, my sisters, my family going through the same emotions. And although we were so connected, we all expressed our emotions in various different ways. So when it came to saying goodbye, I couldn't do it. I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to feel. I just felt anger, because for me, losing her was not something that I was ready for. It's not something that I thought, okay, you know what, this is something that's going to happen. I hadn't mentally prepared myself. It was so sudden, and I just felt robbed. Like I said, I just felt like the time that we still had to spend together, I had lost out on. So over the years, I dealt with my grief in various ways, and in some ways it wasn't very positive. It was quite toxic for myself, and I just kept trying to suppress the emotion, kept trying to forget about the emotion, when really I should have just allowed it to come and feel it. I should have felt what I was meant to feel at that time, but I just wanted to block it out. And you know, how do you deal with it? No one teaches you these things. No one tells you how to deal with these things because it's individual. You don't know. And some people will deal with it by just locking themselves away. Some people will deal with it through anger. Some people will deal with it through suppressing and not really addressing it or not really accepting it. Some people will deal with it through emotions like crying and sadness. And, you know, whatever happens, whatever comes to you, express it, let it flow. Over the years, I started to do more reading, and I started to understand the process of life, how life is, and how you know, just because we physically lose someone doesn't mean we spiritually lose them. you're probably sitting there going, what does that mean? So let me explain it to you. When we physically lose somebody, we think, right, they've gone forever because I can't see them. But what we really connect with is their spiritual self, their soul. So I always use this analogy, and I love it because I think it explains what I'm trying to say perfectly. Imagine us as this bottle of water. We are the bottle. So the vessel, our physical self, is the bottle. And what's inside the water, in this instance, is our soul. So we can transfer this water anywhere we want to transfer it to. We can transfer it to a cup, we can transfer it to another bottle, we can transfer it to a glass, we can transfer it anywhere we want to transfer it to. So imagine the physical body as this bottle of water and our soul as the water inside the bottle. So what happens when somebody passes away? So it could be anyone, it could be your family member, it could be your pet. The physical body goes because we no longer can see it, but the spiritual energy, so the energy that's within us, our soul, it remains connected to us. And how you're probably thinking about, oh, I don't know, core hearts, I don't know what you're saying, it doesn't make sense. So just because we physically depart, so just because you can no longer see me or no longer see that person, doesn't mean that my energy is still not around you. I am a firm believer that just because my grandmother physically left this earth doesn't mean that I can't connect with her or feel her presence. And I'm going to share with you a few experiences that I've had over the years where I have connected, and it's been a beautiful moment where I feel peace within myself. I finally was able to grieve properly, but I was also able to accept, and I was also able to feel her anytime I wanted to because of what I had read and what I had researched. There are various stages of grief, 4 or 5 I believe. First one's denial, then anger, and then blame. You know, I should have done this, or I could have done that, and I wish I had done this. And then you're slowly starting to grieve more through expressing your emotions, whether it's being in solitude, or whether it's crying, or whether it's not being in the right mental state. And then eventually you get to the, okay, this person's gone, now what do I do? Or my pet's gone, what do I do? Or my friend's gone, what do I do? So once I started to research, I was like, okay, I'm going to look at the scientific stuff of how I can cope with this. So speaking to friends and, you know, socializing more, trying to get myself out there, trying to look at the memories of my grandmother. But then I also started to look at the research, spiritual research, which not many people know about. And that's when I started to think about the bottle of water and the soul. And when I started to read these things, I started thinking there must be another way that I can connect with her if her energy is still around me. So I started to write, and as if I was writing her letters, I started to express that through writing. And I started to write letters and write poems and start, you know, just expressing through writing. And I really recommend doing this because it allows us to still communicate, because this energy exists. So when you're writing, it's listening, or when you're writing and you're feeling, it's feeling too. So when I started to do that, I started to feel lighter, and I was like, okay, this is good. And then I did some more reading, and I started to read that if I see feathers and signs, that's her letting me know that she's around me. So I was like, okay, a bit skeptical at first, as you would be. I read this, and then the next day I went for a walk, and on the floor, lo and behold, there was a feather, which I still carry with me today. And I will add this towards the end of this video so you can see. And I was just shocked. I was like, this can't be, this is crazy. And I picked it up, and I was like, wow, okay. And I felt a connection. So if you've lost someone really close to you, or you've lost your pet, or you've lost your friend, or you've lost someone really, really dear to you, and you truly want to connect to their energy, the first most important thing is faith and belief. You won't be able to connect with that energy if you don't believe it exists still. So for me, I had to have ultimate faith. When I was reading, I had to have faith that what I was reading was true, because if I had not accepted it, or if I had thought to myself, okay, it's not real, or, you know, if I'd not believed with my true subconscious and conscious mind, I don't think that feather would have appeared, or I wouldn't have been consciously aware of that feather. So that was the first thing. And then the third, so the first thing was the writing, the second thing was the feather. Then the third thing was, I was thinking, okay, can I connect with her in my dreams? Because if her energy exists, which I believe it did, then surely I can connect. And below I've put a mantra, which I did religiously, which allowed me to connect with her in my dreams. So I was connecting with her in my dreams, I was seeing her in my dreams, and anytime I would say to myself in my dream, oh God, this is a dream, I'd wake up, and when I tried to go back there, it wasn't possible. It's because I stopped believing. So then I started to just, you know, before bed, 5 or 10 minutes, listening to the mantra, doing the mantra, and then I'd go to sleep excited, because I just knew that I'd have that feeling that she was going to connect with me. And she did connect with me. And anytime I felt low, or anytime I felt like I had an obstacle in my life, I'd talk to her and I'd be like, please just show me what I need to do. And something would just happen where it would just clear my path. And I was just like, wow. So over the years, I dealt with my grief through accepting that, yes, my grandmother isn't physically here, but it doesn't mean that she's not spiritually there. So that's the way I dealt with it. And I started to accept that, yeah, I've lost her physically, but she's there anytime I want her to be there, through my dreams, through my meditations, through my writing, through walking, when I'm walking and I'm seeing these signs. And every single time I am walking, or I've had a bad day, or I've had a day where I'm like, oh, I really just need some help, I just need some guidance, and I'm walking and I see a feather, I just smile, because I just think, this is your way of showing me that everything's going to be okay. So I want you guys that are watching this video to really just connect with what I'm saying, to really believe what I'm saying, because it is true, and I'm speaking from experience. Now, 16 years on, yes, there are days when I'm like, okay, you know, I see somebody with their grandmother and I look and I think, okay, you know, I wish my grandma was here. But it also gives me great love and joy knowing that when I want to connect with her, I can, because there are so many dimensions to this world that we just don't know about, where spiritual experiences happen and we just don't know how to connect to them. And this is what I was hoping this video will teach you today. So the most important thing is that you just remember and embrace the positive memories you shared with that spiritual soul. It is important that you don't feel guilt for things within yourself, because that is not going to give that spiritual soul peace. You need to make peace with it. And the best way you can do that is through remembering all the positive experiences and times you shared with that friend, with that family member, with that pet, because you shared the time you were meant to spend with that spiritual soul. So if you are struggling with the loss of someone really close to you, then please speak to someone, share it. Don't experience it alone. Share it either with a person, someone that you trust, or share it through writing, like I said in this video. Or you can share it with the person that you've lost. So through meditation, through connecting. Like I said, there's a mantra that I've included in the link below. So you could try that. Try it. Be patient with yourself. Like with anything else, you're patient with yourself. So be patient in this instance too. When I accepted what had happened and I realized that my grandmother was always with me spiritually, I went and got her permanently marked on me, because I just felt she's with me. She's always a part of me. And anytime I feel low, or anytime I feel like I need that extra push, I just look down and I think, you know, just give me that guidance. And I just suddenly feel great. I suddenly feel uplifted. I suddenly feel like I have the faith that things are just going to be okay, because bigger than this world, there are many spiritual, divine things that happen that just align you where you're meant to be. So please just have faith, and please try the writing. Please try the mantra that's in the link below. Please try, you know, just having that faith and accepting and feeling that energy. And just please comment below to let me know what happens and what you feel and what you express. Like, just, I would love to know everything that happens to you guys that try out or what I've mentioned in the video today. One last thing. Anyone can do this mantra or meditation. You do not have to be religious. You do not have to have any spiritual belief in order to do it. You just have to have faith within yourself, and you just got to have the willingness to want to connect with this spiritual energy, that you want to connect with. So please don't let your thoughts dishearten you. Just have belief within your subconscious and your heart and soul that when you listen to this mantra, when you listen to the meditation, you are able to connect. That is the most important thing, and faith and belief is something that we all have. So there are spiritual stones that you can use for healing and for connecting spiritually. The two that I would recommend are rose quartz, which is a beautiful healing stone, and also amethyst, which is beautiful spiritual connection and connecting. So when you're ready to connect, I would advise that you hold either stone or both stones in your hand whilst you listen to the meditation and the mantras, and you will feel this divine energy. You will feel the loved one's energy around you. So please try that. Also, there are many stones that I would advise, but these are the two that I have connected with the most. The others I will write in the link below, so you can just take your pick and see which you connect with. I really hope this video helped. Please let me know of your experiences below. I would love to hear about them. And please continue to have faith. If you like what you've seen today, please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and please continue to stay blessed, and thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.